Welcome back, Trekkie friends, to another Hailing Frequencies Good, Bad, and Batshit podcast, where this week we are looking at Lower Decks Season 4, Episode 4, Something Borrowed, Something Green. I am one of your hosts, Stu.
And I'm your other host, Alastair. Stu, what's up?
Hey, Alastair. Good to see you again. Good to be doing another one of these. And what a refreshing, I think you use the phrase palate cleanser.
It's all changed from our last very short tracks episode. This was an amazing slice of Lower Decks. Such a good fun episode, and just extremely entertaining in a way that very short tracks was not.
It absolutely was. But before we go into any details about episode 4, we need to go to Red Alert because, spoiler warning, we are going to be dropping those spoilers all over the place for this episode. Something Borrowed, Something Green. And actually, before we do that, I'm going to drop a spoiler for something I've been watching this evening, the Dungeons and Dragons movie, which I had already seen. I was doing a rewatch. And I spotted something in it that kind of really backfooted me and took me by surprise. You know, when they're in the tournament in the... have you seen it?
Stu, I've not seen it. I've heard very good things about it, but I can live with a spoiler on this one. So take it away with your spotting.
Okay, well, there's a bit sort of in the middle-ish of the film where you see a group of adventurers, a party, if you will, in a cage. And it's the kids from the 1980s Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
Oh, nice touch.
A really, really lovely Easter egg seeing them. There we go.
Stuff.
That's not what this podcast is about, but I wanted to share because it made me excited.
Well, I actually caught a really good film the other week as well that I think it kind of flew under a lot of radars, which is the recent French adaptation of The Three Musketeers called D'Artagnan, with Eva Green playing Milady, probably the most well-known cast, or one of the most well-known cast members in it. So, really worth checking out. It's on at least one of the streaming services as a paid-for thing just now. So if you're into your kind of slightly retro swashbuckling adventure type stuff, really nicely done, very straightforward, but extremely enjoyable little film, and a sequel coming to UK cinemas in December. So that's my film pick for the week. Three Musketeers, D'Artagnan.
I'm quite big on the old Three Musketeers. I mean, so I was in the Charlie Sheen version. I'm only as an extra.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were filming down in Cornwall when I lived down there. And I find Three Musketeers absolutely fascinating. So it's Three Musketeers, but there's 4 of them. That's always the big joke. But here's what I think is an absolutely hilarious joke. They're musketeers, and they carry swords. But they're musketeers. That means their job is to shoot guns.
Seldom seen though. What was very nice was that this was the first Three Musketeers version that I've seen where the Musketeers spoke French on screen, which, seemed appropriate, really.
Right. Oh, am I going to have to go back and do some linguaphone?
Yeah.
Are there subtitles?
Subtitles handily in place, because otherwise I would have seriously struggled as well. So, but well worth checking out, especially if you're a fan. So, there we go. Film recommendations: Dungeons and Dragons and Three Musketeers from Stu and I. A bit of bonus Hailing Frequencies content today.
It is indeed. So speaking of recommendations, do you think you would recommend Something Borrowed, Something Green for people to watch.
Absolutely. Yeah, this was a real treat, this episode. I actually I have I try and make a couple of notes before we do these reviews, and I was just really struggling to find anything bad about this one this week. I think you have to really pick at it to get anything bad down in the list. It's firing on all cylinders. We find the team split up this week, but both A and B plots are just outrageously funny and really engaging and just wonderful character pieces for the core team of our show as well. So big thumbs up for me on this one overall. How about you, Stu?
I foresee an interesting discussion coming up today. Having heard all that, yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved it. I love all Lower Decks. I agree with you. Finding something bad is a challenge with it. And when we say bad, we don't necessarily mean it's bad, of course. We mean it could be better. Room for improvement, unless it's a very short track, and then it's just bad. Full stop. Let's talk about the mystery ship, though, from the opening sequence. So we theorized last week that possibly they were beaming people away before destroying the ship. But we got a shot of what seemed to be the Orions being vaporized.
Yeah, I noticed that too. And I really liked your theory last week that perhaps they were being beamed off, because I really like the potential for a setup that our lower decks team on the Cerritos were going to be involved in rescuing the other lower decks. But it does seem from what we see this week that that's probably not the case. And quick shout out to our commenter who also agreed with you on the beaming them off and transporting them somewhere else. But yeah, sadly, it looks like that's not where we're going.
Yes, hi, Wind Grace. Wing Grace has his own channel where he does reviews as well, worth checking out.
Awesome.
There's another recommendation from us. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting very organic vibes from this mystery ship, though.
And of course, my bet is still on. I said this last week. I'll mention it again. Please. Now, every episode that we don't see Peanut Hamper and Jeffrey Coombs' computer, whose name I've still forgot, even though you went away and looked it up for us. Every time we don't see them in an episode after the setup for them coming back last season, I become slightly more convinced that this spaceship is their design or an amalgamation of their AI intelligences or some such. So, but you're reckoning a crude ship of some sort, Stu. Any guesses as to who might be behind it?
Well, not necessarily crude. And I do like where you're going with the whole Peanut Hamper and Agimus.
Agimus. I'll remember it sometime.
Jeffrey. It's Jeff. It's
right on my hand Jeff. For next time. Yeah.
So when I say I'm getting organic vibes from the shit, I don't mean it is organic as such, but I'm getting a kind of all the lines, everything flows into each other. There's no seams, no rivet. I mean, I know we don't really see rivets, but it doesn't have the feel for me of something that's been assembled, more something that has been grown. However, it is also technological. So I have a new theory this week. Do you remember in Star Trek the Motion Picture, V'Ger, or Voyager 4 as it was at the time, fell into the gravity of a planet that were machines? Living machines.
Yes.
And they built the ship for V'Ger to complete its mission, sent it off again. I'm wondering if this is that race. Living machines.
It would be very, very cool to see a bit more of an exploration of that. Sorry, I misunderstood when you said organic and thought you were talking about organics. piloting the ship, not that the ship was sort of organic in nature. But yeah, no, really interesting idea. I'd be very intrigued to see that get explored more. But I think we're still really in the dark. I mean, we've seen this thing about 3 times this season, and I think we're still very much in the educated guess phase here. There's not been, I mean, many clues I think that we can latch too much
No.
onto. We've discussed it's obviously extremely powerful, and there's not much that we've seen in Star Trek that can launch the kind of attacks that it has launched so far. So it's maybe the biggest clue, but still leaves me scratching my head for anywhere near a definite answer.
Yes, and viewers, if you've got any thoughts about what it might be, drop them in the comments below, because we'd love to hear. But let's get on to the bulk of the episode then. So good, there's so much good in this. What's top of your good list?
Oh, top of the list. There's so much. I love Brotherford. I love that nickname for their little bromance. The way that Mariner and Tandy talk about it as well. Of this kind of like almost like it's kind of creepy how well the guys are getting on kind of thing is the perfect setup for that cut to then seeing them in action with their little bonsai. The choice to use the holodeck to explore that is just superb. The Mark Twain skit throughout this episode is brilliant. I love Jerry Hardin's original role as Twain in Next Generation, and it's so fun to see Lower Decks tip the hat to that performance. And just the amazingly misguided attempt to use it to save the day later in the episode as well. That was definitely one of my favorite things about this episode. What about you, Stu? What was up there on your list?
So top of my list was getting to see the Orion culture.
Yeah.
Lower Decks is absolutely fantastic at doing callbacks to things we've seen before. But in terms of doing deep dives into existing sort of alien species, in a way that we've not seen before, that's quite an unusual take for them. They'll create new aliens for us to do deep dives into and things like that, rather than stepping on the toes of other series. At least that's how I've been interpreting it. So yeah, for them to actually, and there's even a line about Mariner saying, but nobody ever gets to see the Orion homeworld. I just think, yeah, that was really really nice to see, and really entertaining as well.
Yeah, great choice, and just, I mean, so many moments to pick from in the glimpse that it gives us into the Orion homeworld. The drinking game that they play with the bug in the middle of the table, brilliant moment. The club that they go to as well, just hilarious. The Mariner's comment about everyone being carried around on plinths near the start as well. Yeah, great choice, Stu. Wonderful to see more of the Orion culture, and you're totally right. Props to Lower Decks for exploring it in a way that we've never come close to really in other Star Treks. So yeah, good choice.
Any honourable mentions on the good side?
Oh, I have to give it to my pet favorite, T'Lyn. I just think T'Lyn's great in this episode again. If when we talk about very short treks, I say like I don't really get the humor here. The T'Lyn's character and T'Lyn's humor just gets me every time. It's absolutely my kind of humor. I love the deadpan delivery. Like I think that the performance just has that down so well, like the delivery and timing and intonation. I think Tallinn, for me, constantly steals scenes that she's in with the one-liners that she zings off at the end of them or in the middle of them. So honorable mention to her for her role in the kind of like the girls' team for this story of the two plot lines we get.
Yes. And I've got the exact same honorable mention to Lynn.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
So just there's just something about her, like you say, her deadpan one-liners just absolutely and I think we've gotten to see a bit more depth of character with her as well in these last couple of episodes. Particularly when she sort of throws the pad away, says it would be unethical. I just think that was a lovely moment. At the end of last week's episode, I was leaning in my head towards shipping Tillin and Boimler. That's changed. Now I want to see Tillin and Tendi.
Yeah, great pivots, Stu. I approve. I think as well, one of the things that I love about Tillin's character is that we've always had this idea with Vulcans in Star Trek that they don't. It's not that they don't have emotions, not that they can't have humor. It's that they choose to suppress that, and I think there is an increasingly conscious decision in Lower Decks to write Tillin as deadpan humor rather than someone who is like a straight non-comedic character who is funny because they're saying things that are unintentionally humorous, which is always tempting to do with Vulcans, right? They're not trying to be funny. It's funny because they're kind of crisscrossing the understanding of the situation in a humorous way. And I think the decision to lean into the idea that maybe Tillin is actually intentionally poking fun at things with her humor in Lower Decks, and that she's deliberately deadpan, and that there's a little bit of mischievousness in her character in that way, is just the perfect choice for Lower Decks Vulcan. We've had such a wonderful exploration of Vulcan humor and with Spock in Strange New Worlds in the last season, but I think if Tillin keeps going the way that she is, that she is really going to sort of steal the show for Vulcan comedic characters in Star Trek. So yeah, big thumbs up.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on. I have one other geeky sort of good honorable mention as well. So the ship that they take from the scrapyard is an Airy class ship, which we've seen before in Voyager, because it was the ship that brought Annika Hansen to the Delta Quadrant following the ship. It was the Raven, was an Airy class ship.
I thought it looked familiar,
Same
Stu,
type
and I
of
could
ship.
not put my finger on where I'd seen it before in Star Trek. I wondered if it was maybe something from Prodigy, but you have turned the light bulb on in my head, and of course you're absolutely right. That's where it's from. Yeah, good catch and nice callback from Lower Decks.
Having over 400 Starship models, it
Yeah.
really helps with spotting that sort of thing. Oh no, that ship, yes, that's that was issue 86 of the Starship collection. No, doing a voice I really need to stop that.
It's exactly the kind of knowledge we need here on hailing frequencies. So yeah, excellent for the ship collection.
I'm there with it, but it was nice to see that ship, like the Airy class again. Okay, yeah. So on to our bad choices then. What have you got?
It's pretty much. I feel really bad trying to call out anything as bad in this episode. I mean, I think that increasingly with Lower Decks, I long for it to do the moments of poignancy alongside humor, which it feels like they're growing into more and more the longer the show runs. It's always something they've been good at, but I feel like it gets better and better as it comes up. And so with an episode like this, like I think we do get some nice moments for Tandy's character with that kind of conflict that goes on for her character with the Ryan culture and how she feels she fits in or not with it, and her history with that. But I suppose, like, if I was to call it one thing that I might have liked to see be a bit different, is that maybe that could have been driven home with just a little bit more uh, a little bit more impactfully for her character. It felt there was I really enjoyed the conversation with her sister. I thought there was good drama there, but whether there could have been a little bit more of an epiphany for Tandy in the way that we saw with Mariner in that excellent moment a couple of episodes ago, where she had the realization about sort of sabotaging herself, and they really let it hang for a second in the episode. And you could really feel, as a viewer, the emotional kind of oomph of that realization for that character. It's that I know Lower Decks is so good at this now, right? I know that they can do these moments where they trust their characters to pull off really weighty kind of sort of emotional moments now and then. That when we get an episode like this that begins to go into backstory, it's not that it wasn't there. She got some good drama, but yeah, if I have to harp on something, then I think they could have maybe let Tandy go a bit more with sort of emotionally getting into that for her character.
Okay. I think that's a fair comment. Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. Um, you're not going to like mine.
Oh no, did you really hit the Mark Twain skit, Stu?
Well, the entire B story is my bad choice. Not that it was
No.
bad. It wasn't bad. But one of the things that Lower Decks, I mean, it does so many things really, really well. But one of the things it does absolutely brilliantly is it balances humor with depth, with meaning. And it absolutely nailed the humor with the B story. I didn't get any depth to it though. I didn't get any I mean, it was a B story, and like you, I feel kind of harsh saying this, but yeah, it would have been nice if there was something a bit more character development in. I suppose there was in a way, but it felt weak character development.
You know what? I love the B storyline, but I'm not even going to disagree with you. I think very much in the way that you felt about my point about Tandy's story and character moments in this. I probably feel reciprocally about your mention about the B plot and the kind of the guy's relationship as well, and the. I see what you mean. I thought it was funny. I thought it did do a bit of character development, but could it have done more? Could it have had maybe a little bit more to say or been a little bit more impactfully told in some way? Probably yes. I feel like it's very harsh to kind of come back to this again, but I feel that for all this was a really good episode of Lower Decks. It's probably not going to be many people's all-time favorite of the show, which again, when we were desperately nitpicking for negatives about one of the last episodes, we said that, or I think I said that as well about one of them. And it's testament to how good Lower Decks is at the moment that we're having to go to these kind of nitpicky extremes of looking for things to call out on it. So I guess we probably have different favorite lines for this week, because my favorite line was the Chalnoff's "Now I thirst for mist" from when he's just eating the bonsai tree and then goes on to drink their mister. So, what was yours for this week, Stu? Did you have one?
A favorite line? I can't remember one stand out line. I suppose when she was talking to her friend and they have the bug death game, and as she's leaving, it's all right, call me, let's do brunch. She's like, yeah. I'm not gonna call her. That made
Yes,
me
yeah,
laugh.
yeah. That was very good.
Yeah, yeah. That's yeah. There was nothing kind of jumped out at me though as a huge line. Um, not as lines, but in I'm going to skew this slightly and say Orion names really made me laugh. But and to Erica.
Yes, yeah,
Although we've
yeah.
got to Lynn, Vulcan, so um, yeah, that
Yeah, good
that
good catch.
was
And I did get a chuckle at that as well. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. To Erica did yeah tickle me definitely. Uh, any um any honorable mentions on the bad side for you?
Oh, really not. I actually, my honorable mention is just, kudos, Lower Decks. You're doing a great job. We're really struggling to find bad things to say about your
Yes.
episodes. Keep it up. Big thumbs
Not
up.
enough bad things. Yes,
Yeah.
that's all. We need content, damn it. Um, maybe they ought to get the.
I do have a batshit thing to say.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, before we move on to batshit stuff, I do have an honorable mention on the bad, I'm afraid.
Oh,
Um,
okay, go for it.
which is Mariner kept saying about wanting to find out about Tendy's character, her, backstory, all the rest of it. Mariner has done an Orion episode with Tendy. They weren't on the Orion homeworld, but they were on an Orion colony where they went off to get the scratching post thing
Yes, that's right.
for Dr. Ta'ana. So yeah, so we have seen. So in that episode, that's when we got to see Tendy's a lot of Tendy's backstory. Where we first heard Mistress of the Winter constellations, things like that. Mariner was there for that, so why did she keep going on about? Oh, we need to see. I want to know. No, you know quite a lot already. So
Yeah, I think that was it's sort of one of those. She's standing in for the audience, and an audience who's maybe not casting their memory that far back, or remembering the show that well. I think it's a little bit of a nod to hint, massive clue. This is going to be a Tandy episode. Buckle up, kind of thing. But I absolutely agree with you that if you have been following along studiously as the show has gone on, and that was a great episode as well. So very easy to remember. Then yeah, you know that it's a bit labored, and that we have actually heard a bit more about Tandy than is being suggested already.
yeah, if it was Rutherford who'd gone instead of Mariner, that would have made perfect. You could have actually put those lines because Rutherford's upbeat and positive, and so
Yeah.
Rutherford could have. Then you'd have lost the B story, I guess. But
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, I definitely take your point. And although actually your honorable bad mention has just reminded me of something else that I loved in the episode, which is the running joke of Mariner getting hit in the shoulder with a knife.
yeah.
The ricochet knife is the final one is particularly good. I just thought that was brilliant.
Do you notice she used Lynn as I was going to say as a human shield, as a Vulcan shield?
Yes,
For that as well.
yeah.
Yes. That one didn't pass as Mariner. We saw. Um, yeah, so batshit. What you got for batshit?
I absolutely loved the batshit nature of the jump the jump cut from the guys on the bridge going, "Oh, we've got the solution to this Chalnoth problem," to the holodeck with the Chalnoth in full Mark Twain costume. Just ludicrous, and the fact that Freeman's there as well, and it's just totally batshit, but absolutely hilarious, and something that only Lower Decks could do. I don't think I would trust any other Star Trek to do that jump cut and pull it off in the way that they do. It's just perfect.
Yeah, yeah. That was good. I think for me it was probably the Death Bug game.
Yeah.
And it was so like well thought out as well. Like you can see exactly the step. You know, you wait until it sort of opens its whatever the hell those things are before you pick up your glass, and then like slamming the glass down activates the shield, and it's yeah,
Is
yeah,
this you
yeah.
getting
Actually, it was.
the cogs turning in your brain for a Star Trek Adventures adaptation of this Orion drinking games, Stu?
Oh well, spoilers.
Yeah.
There are Orions in the Shackleton Expanse. The Livingston hasn't had too much to do with them yet, but yeah,
Potential. Yeah.
there are Orions in the Shackleton Expanse, so that could be a thing. Yeah. Any other honourable mentions you've got?
I mean, again, something we've said for every one of these, but the little scene with the Orion lower decks to start the episode, these have all been good. All of them have been good. I think the Romulan one's still my favorite. That one really had me in stitches with the kind of conspiracy lower decks conspiracy for control of the ship and the suspicious nature of the Romulans. But the Klingon one was great. The Orion one this week was great. Really enjoying getting these. So quite happy to see another ship get blown up so that we get to see their lower decks being hilarious beforehand in the weeks to come. What about you, Stu? Anything else that you want to call out?
Same as yourself, that opening set, and we've never seen an Orion interceptor look so spiky before.
Yeah, it was
that
looking
was
cool.
New. The Orion interceptors normally not got those spikes.
Another ship to add to the collection at some point, possibly, Stu. The model lower decks Orion
Don't
interceptor.
give them ideas. I'll need to take out another mortgage.
Yeah. Yes, I didn't. I enjoyed that as well.
Again.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
what will be coming up?
Not sure as yet. I think they'll go for a lot of Strange New Worlds initially, though. That's my prediction, but very early days yet. Very early days. Oh, gosh. Well, yeah, overall, big thumbs up, I think, for the episode, isn't it?
Massive thumbs up. Just lower decks, just knocking out of the park this season. Very, very impressed by lower decks, and can't wait to see what's coming up every week. I'm looking forward to the next one, and I'm dreading the end of this season already, and we're not even halfway through it yet. So,
for that reason, I'm actually I'm looking forward to next week's, but I'm also not, because that will be the halfway mark.
Yeah,
and it's coming up way too quick.
Paramount, give us more episodes. We'll take longer seasons. Well, I will.
Well, support the SAG after a strike, because that's one of the aspects to it. Is they've gone from like 20 episodes a season to 10 episodes a season, and of course, like, actors still aren't allowed to work on other projects, so they're being paid half the amount that they were being paid before. So support the strike.
Absolutely.
SAG strong. Yeah. I'm with Equity, the British Actors Union, and we stand with SAG. SAG. Oh, God. Words. Yes. Anyway. This has been a far
Yeah,
too political broadcast for.
I don't think there's any Lower Decks or Strange New Worlds fans out there that would complain about longer seasons and it would be more work for actors, and that's a win for everybody. So yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, join us next time then when, we'll be reviewing episode 5 of Lower Decks season 4. And before that, we'll be looking at a very short track as well. But never mind.
please be
I'm
good.
not
Please be good.
optimistic.
Please be good. You know, it was really funny actually, Stu. Before we started doing hailing frequencies together, I just by chance came across someone complaining on a forum saying like, "Oh, you know, all these Star Trek podcasts and vodcasts that just go on about how amazing the show is and everything's so good." And I thought, oh, you know, gosh, like that will be me. You know, I really love basically almost anything and everything Star Trek, and you know. And very short treks has been one of the first things that we've covered, and I really haven't enjoyed it. So, so well, I defied my own expectations about what I was going to be like doing this with my grumbles about that one, and we'll see if that turns right next week or not.
Yeah. Let's hope. Let's. I'm surprised to hear that comment because I would say there are a huge amount of vodcasts out there. Where people like to piss all over, like Discovery and Picard, New Trek.
They're kind of the
New Trek.
partisan kind of old
Yeah.
new Trek biases, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yes. How dare we have a captain that shows emotion? Grr. Yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly on from that, we're not like that, but very short treks are terrible. If you disagree with us, let us know in the comments.
Stay tuned next week to hear us say it again.
Yes, and we will be back with more good, bad, and batshit. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell icon so you don't miss a single one. Anyway, until next time, peace and long life.
Live long and prosper.